Good morning. Today is Friday, May 31st, day 29 of our hike. I am Van Gogh, and this is Riley. We just started hiking a short while ago. Riley hit his first bowel movement, and I just buried it under there. A few hikers, including Michael and Simone, have already passed us while we were breaking down our camp, and that's why Riley is very impatient to stay stopping. He wants to get going and try to catch up to them. All I want to say right now is it's really cold. It was really cold overnight, and it's still really chilly, and it's good that we're finally moving so that we can warm up. But because it's so cold, I still have Riley's jacket on, and I have both of my shirts on plus my jacket, and I have my bug net on just to keep my face warm. So hopefully we'll warm up soon. But it feels good that we're finally packed up and ready to start hiking, and we will check in later. Hello, Riley. Riley, slow down. Okay, so we are now at the top, or close to the top, of Unica Mountain, or Unica Mountain. And this mountain is, or the small area that we're in right now is distinct from many other places on the trail because of all the trees that are here. So my guidebook, my ATA wall guidebook, says that this is a dense spruce forest. So these are all spruce trees apparently. And just a short while ago, as we were hiking up the mountain, there weren't spruce trees. They were all deciduous trees. And now all the trees have changed. There's no leaves anymore. Well, actually, there are some leaves. But mostly it's conifers. And the trees are all like spread out, and in between trees there's just a lot of space. So if someone wanted to camp like anywhere in between the trees, it wouldn't be too difficult to do that. We just passed that road, and it's turned into a nice day. So I got Riley's jacket off, and I finally took my second shirt and my jacket off, and we're both warm now. So it feels good. I think I'm going to try to possibly find a campsite at lower elevation tonight with the hopes that it'll be a little bit warmer for us. I'm chewing right now. What am I chewing? In the hiker box at Uncle Johnny's, I found several very nice things. I think the best find that I had was this bag of gummy bears. 5-ounce bag. Had a lot of gummy bears in it. It was unopened. And I went through all yesterday without touching them. But this morning, the cold weather, once I got going, I started snacking on these gummy bears. And I only have 3 left, and I'm going to finish them off real soon. Yeah. They taste really good. I'm really, really glad that I got these gummy bears. I should bring more candy out on trail when I have the opportunity. So, day's going fine so far. It's a little after 12 now. I think we've done about 5 miles or so. So, that's an update for today, and we will check in later on. Bye for now. All right, we've just come a little ways on the trail, but I wanted to show this little sign here on the tree. So this section of trail has these small black signs with light colored letters to give you an idea of what's upcoming. I mean, I have this information in my guidebooks, so it's not new, but it's nice to have it confirmed, like actually on the trail. So Next shelter is Clyde Smith Shelter, 6.1 miles. And then Little Rock Knob, Hughes Gap, and Carver's Gap after that. And we just passed Iron Mountain Gap. I guess that's where the road is down there, 3,723 feet. Very cool. All right, let's go, Riley. Come on. Riley and I have just come up a big climb, and there's a pretty cool rock outcropping here. Riley seems interested. Riley, please don't pull me. Riley, oh, I'm gonna stop, Riley. I'm gonna stop. Okay. When Riley's pulling, if I keep going, he'll just keep pulling. So I gotta stop. And I gotta get in front and control the situation. It's okay, Riley. It's okay. So, I just want to show this cool rock outcropping. I kind of knew it was coming up because it's mentioned in my ATA wall guide as like a site to see. So, pretty cool. We will check back in later. Riley and Van Gogh back checking in. We just did a big climb and got to what seems like the top of some mountain. And there's a campsite right there. And I just thought it's cool how that tree over there, like kind of part of it kind of broke off, but it's still sort of attached to the trunk, and the whole top of the tree is now just like leaning over, and it nestled in between those two trees. That just seems kind of cool. Riley's whining a little bit because you sense that there's people up there, but they're so far ahead we don't see them. But Riley has special powers and he can sense them. So we will continue on and we'll check in later. Hope everyone's doing well. Bye for now. If you look closely, there's a hiker in a blue shirt and black shorts down there. We've only been hiking for like maybe 2 or 3 minutes since I pointed out that tree. And so that's the hiker that Riley sensed. We caught up to him in a short bit. And yeah, that's what Riley was sensing with his special powers. And I'm gonna take a break so that we can let him get ahead of us, because whenever we actually caught up to him before, and we got ahead of him, and then Riley was just playing the game where he just waits on him, and we're just going to go at his pace anyway, so we might as well let him get ahead, and it'll be easier for us to walk by ourselves. So we're going to take a break here. By the way, earlier today we went up this mountain, and I said I wasn't sure if it was Unaka Mountain or Unica Mountain, and either way it had a nice bunch of spruce trees that were all spread out, so there was plenty of space to camp in between the trees. And I passed a group of hikers going southbound, which I actually met yesterday. Apparently they're going northbound, but they're doing it in sections where they go southbound. Anyway, so one of those hikers is local to the Irwin area, and she informed me that that mountain is actually called Unaka Mountain with a long A sound. So it's Unaka Mountain, not Unaka or Unica. Cool. We will check in later. Riley. Okay, so we have taken several breaks today. I initiated several of the breaks because I was feeling tired, or I wanted to hold back so that we didn't get caught with another hiker. Anyway, so we have arrived at Clyde Smith Shelter. It's just down that trail. And Riley hears voices, so he wants to go in. And we've done about a little over 13 miles today. But my plan is to continue on. It's only like 5 o'clock right now. And I would actually like to make it to the next shelter, which is Roan High Knob Shelter. I think it's about 9 miles from here. And it's the highest shelter on the AT in terms of elevation. It's like 6,100 feet. And I know, Riley, no. I know I said earlier that I wanted to camp at lower elevation so it was a bit warmer. But I saw a picture of the shelter on my Far Out app, and I learned, first of all, I haven't stayed at the shelter in either of the two hikes in 2017 or 2018. And I remember I passed by it, like, it wasn't like it was super late in the day, but I definitely was not interested in staying at it because of the high elevation, and I was worried that it was going to be too cold. But I saw a picture of it on Far Out, and it has a door, which is totally unlike most of the other, like 95% of the other shelters on the AT, which do not have a door. They just have an open side, which allows the wind to come in. But this shelter is completely enclosed with a door. So that means that even though it's going to be cold in terms of temperature, there's going to be like no drafts coming in, which will help to make it a lot warmer. Plus, the shelter apparently is rather large. It has 2 floors, and it's supposed to sleep 15 people. So there should be, even if we get there late, there should be enough room for Riley and I. And it's probably not going to be like packed body to body. So there should be enough room for Riley and I to spread out a little bit. So it's going to take some work for us to get there. We might have to do some night hiking. And it's a huge climb. Like, we still have a climb to do after this shelter, and then we have a descent, and then there's a huge climb to get up to 6,100 feet. But that's what I want to do now. And if we can get there, then we'll be about 17 miles from US Route 19, which is where the Mountain Harbor Bed and Breakfast / hostel is located. So the Mountain Harbor is a hostel and bed and breakfast that is 0.3 of a mile off the trail. Once you get to Route 19, you have to take a left turn when you're going northbound. So it's in the westerly direction. And that bed and breakfast / hostel is not a place that I've stayed at. I did stop in the morning in 2018. And I remember wanting to get their breakfast in 2018. And I remember in 2018, I actually stayed at that last shelter, Clyde Smith shelter. And from there, it's 25 miles to get to Route 19. And the following day, I remember wanting to hike all the way to Mountain Harbor so I could spend the night there. But I remember getting so I made it 22 miles in 2018 after leaving Clyde Smith shelter. And I remember just being exhausted, super exhausted. I was only less than 4 miles from getting to Route 19. But I remember it was 9 o'clock or maybe even later. It was dark and I was super exhausted. And I decided to set up my tent on some kind of grassy bald where I didn't have any tree cover. And I remember thinking that night that I would try to wake up super early the next morning and hike in and see if I could still get their breakfast. But of course that didn't happen. I was so exhausted from the night before that I wasn't able to get up early enough. Anyway, so a little bit more about Mountain Harbor. I keep talking about their breakfast. Apparently, their reputation is that they have the best breakfast on trail. And I think that includes like hostels as well as restaurants. And I know I spoke glowingly and lovingly of getting to Smoky Mountain Diner to try their skillet breakfast, which I was so looking forward and so happy that I was able to try. This is Riley here. He's hiking well. But the reputation is that this Mountain Harbor breakfast is the best. Apparently they make everything on their farm, homemade, and it's all you can eat. And it's just like lots and lots of different types of dishes. And everybody seems to have very, very good reviews of it. So if we can get to the shelter tonight, and now that I know that it has a door, I'm less worried about the cold. That'll put us 17 miles approximately from Route 19, which we should be able to do tomorrow. We might have, I mean, it's still a good distance for us, but we don't have to get there by 5 p.m. like we needed to get to Uncle Johnny's for. We would have the full day to hike in, and I could try calling the hostel ahead of time to let them know we're coming and just see if I can reserve a campsite and let them know we might be a little late. But all right, so that's my my plan, and that's Riley's plan as well. So I will check in later and let you know how things are going. Hope everyone's doing well. All right, bye for now. So we came up from that way, and the trail continues that way. And I was content to stay on the trail, but Riley was like, no, we gotta go check out the view. Gotta go check it out. So we got this cool view here. Riley's getting right up on the rock, checking it out. Cool, man. All right, Riley, you ready, buddy? Okay, so Riley and I have made it to this road here, road crossing. Trail continues that way, and I saw this monument here. It's just lying down here. It was probably, I'm guessing it was like erected more upright at some point, but maybe it fell down. So it says, this monument is in memory and honor of the Hughes family, who have owned this land since 1878. Charles Hughes, Caroline Hughes, Butler Hannah Hughes, Columbus Henry Hughes, James Frank Hughes. And this place that we are at, according to my guidebook, is called Hughes Gap. So that explains it. It was owned by the land was owned by the Hughes family originally. Right, let's get you untangled here. Just gotta, you're fine, Riley. You're not even tangled there. Okay, cool. You ready, Riley? Riley, I know. See, Riley sees cars over there, so he wants to go over to the cars. But let's cross the road here, buddy. Come on. Continue on the trail. And I believe we are just over 5 miles now from Roan High Knob Shelter. From the previous shelter, I checked my guidebook, it was 8.5 miles. So I guess that means we've done about 3.5 miles. But from here, it's all uphill. It's a huge uphill climb. And I was actually thinking just now, this is kind of like Mount Katahdin. Like not, just in terms of the elevation change and the ascent, and also the distance, because Mount Katahdin from the base at Katahdin Stream Campground up to the peak, it is 5.1 miles. And the elevation change is like, I think 4,000 feet in elevation. Here, it's also about 5.1 miles from the base up to the shelter where we're going, Roan High Knob Shelter. And it's comparable elevation change. So in that sense, it's kind of similar to Mount Katahdin. But there's also many differences. I'm not going to try to list them here, but just thought in my mind that this is kind of similar to Mount Katahdin. All right, so we're going to try to work our way up this climb little bit by little bit, and we'll check in later. Riley, time out. I gotta explain. So, Riley, hold up. So Riley, we were just coming up the trail that way. This is a nice, pleasant trail. And Riley was back a little bit earlier. He was sniffing on the side of the trail, and he kind of jumped off just a little bit outside of the trail, and he picked something up, and he like ate it. And I was like, what did you find, Riley? And then he continued on, and just a few, maybe 10, 15 feet later, he jumped off the side of the trail again. And he kind of stopped because he knew he didn't have any more room to go with the leash. And I just kind of stood there looking at him, like wondering, what are you doing? And then I was like, okay, let's see what he thinks he has found. And so I decided to walk down with him. I wasn't going to go super far, but I was going to entertain his idea. And he walked down a little bit further, and he found a quarter of a sandwich. It looked like it was like whole wheat bread, and I'm guessing there was peanut butter inside, and it wasn't a whole sandwich with like 2 slices of bread and peanut butter inside, but it was like just like if you just cut it down, like down the length, and there was a quarter of it. So it was the full length of the bread, but just a quarter of the width. And I just think that's pretty cool that he can smell so well that he's just walking on the trail and he just knows there's a peanut butter sandwich lying like 10 feet away in the dirt. And it looked fresh. It didn't look like it looked like somebody just was eating it and then just decided to toss it off the trail. And so he just found it, and he got some trail magic. And now we're going to continue on. And that's the sun. It's still high in the sky, so we got a good bit of daylight to work with. I think we have just over 4.5 miles to go. So I think we're doing okay. And I thought of, I said I wouldn't really elaborate on the differences between this and Mount Katahdin, but one key difference is definitely the terrain. The terrain here is very pleasant to walk on, and there's actually switchbacks that we're able to walk on, whereas the terrain on Mount Katahdin is much more rugged, and the weather is much more unpredictable, I think. So those are some differences. Also, the elevation change that we're doing here, we started at 4,000 feet at Hughes Gap, and or just over 4,000 feet, and we're getting up to 6,193 feet. So just under 22 feet of increase in elevation. And I think that's a smaller, I think, I'll double check it later, but I think that's a smaller elevation change than Mount Katahdin is from Katahdin Stream Campground up to the peak. All right, we'll check in later. What are you doing? Okay, quick update. We made it to Ash Gap, and which is a little while back. I think it's about 9 o'clock now, and we have like 1.9 miles to go. And that's the sunset over there. So we still have a little bit of daylight. It's getting chilly here. And it's dark on the trail. But we're really close. So we're gonna keep going and hopefully get there. Riley's tired, and we took a break earlier. And then he was able to get up and he's walking again. I think I'm asking him to do a lot today. So I feel conflicted about that, but I think it's okay. He's doing fine. Riley. Oh, buddy, he's gonna sit down here. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna turn the camera off and take care of Riley here. And we're gonna be fine tonight. He's actually chewing on a stick here. So, quick update. We are a half mile away from the shelter. And we made it to the Cloudland Hotel site just like a couple tenths of a mile ago. That was a hotel that was in operation a long time ago as like a vacation spot, and I think all that remains of the structure is this stone fireplace and chimney. This is the Appalachian Trail right here, and this is the remnants of the fireplace and chimney that I believe belonged to the Cloudland Hotel. Just pretty cool to see that here. And it is 9:49 p.m. right now, so we have a half mile to go. We're getting there.